Exactly. And yeah, you bring something really interesting up with our culture being almost designed in a way where it's hard to notice that little voice or those moments where we feel like, what is it that we need? And
Yeah,
and we all experience these wake up calls. And in a
yeah,
way, I imagine the anecdote that you share where you retired from skateboarding as one of the original professional skateboarders. You retired from skateboarding just by having a wipeout or a crash that wasn't a severe one, but had you on your back looking up at the sky or at the stars, and all of a sudden
yeah,
deciding right there and then that skateboarding was over for you.
yeah.
What can we do to help incrementally maybe shift the culture to provide people with the ability and awareness to notice that voice? What are some things that we can do?
Entertain some stillness in our lives, to know that we are actually, I'm not talking about religion or anything like that. And I have no problem with anybody's faith or anything like that at all. But to know that we are spiritual beings, you and I are sitting here having this conversation. And at the same time, this body is breathing itself. It's digesting our food that we had for breakfast. Our eyes and our sensory organs are all working at the same time. The liver is cleansing our blood. Like, all of these things are happening at this moment when you and I are having this conversation. And how, scientifically we can explain how this is happening, but does it really tell us what's happening? Like, what is happening right now really truly is a miracle. I don't know any other way to explain it except to have a human experience, to have the opportunity to be alive in a body at this time with all the sufferings of the world is still really a gift. And it's not to say that we have to take on the responsibility to save the world. I think that's very far-fetched. We're not going to save the world. But what we can do is stay awake. We can do what's in front of us. We can have a generous flavor to our lives in how we treat the people around us and how we cultivate community. But I think, it's so easy for us to forget about ourselves. It's so easy for us to dive into people pleasing and helping others. And we tend to forget about ourselves. It's a
Yeah,
very good escape
that's me.
to, yeah, it's a lot of us. It's a perfect way to avoid looking at ourselves. Some people will drink. I call it a good friend of mine who started this this new kind of movement really that's happening that kind of is around, it's around sobriety, but it's not so much about kind of like having a big problem and like getting it, having something dramatic happen where you had to stop drinking. It's more about, what is your habit, your daily habit? What are your dimming habits? That's what she calls them. It's called the clear life journey.
Okay.
And these things that we do to dim ourselves, drinking, scrolling on social media, any of these things that we do that take us away out of what's in front of us, busyness, just being busy to be busy, takes us away from this life, this gift, this human experience. And the thing that is not encouraged in our culture is any sort of stillness or prayer or meditation. Because it's not, it's not super dramatic, but it really is. It's about one of the most punk rock things you can do is to just sit with your own thoughts and just sit with like a mountain and see that you have the capacity to have a reprieve from this life in a way, and just sit and be aware of this body and to experience how nice it is not to have to constantly react to the judgments, the critiques, the chatter of the mind that usually tends to be so negative, especially for us in the Western culture. We're very hard on ourselves.